you, Madam Chair, members of the committee, subcommittee, I should say. First of all, I just want to echo, without repeating everything that Delegates Plum and Lopez and Krizek said. I think they're right on the mark, and I definitely support them in their efforts. A few more facts I want to give out. This is from the Department of Labor. 600 economists, including 7 Nobel Prize winners, have said the weight of evidence now shows that increases in the minimum wage have had little or no negative effect on the employment of minimum wage workers, even during times of weakness in the labor market. And of course, our labor market is improving. Research also shows it has a stimulative effect on the economy. When you pay workers more, they spend more. A lot of them need to pay the rent, need to pay for groceries, and now they can afford to pay for kids' toys at Christmas that they otherwise couldn't afford to pay. So it actually increases the economy. I was actually very moved this morning to hear Delegate Will Moorfield talk about the situation in Southwest Virginia with a woman who could not afford to pay her groceries. And I remember thinking, if only she had a decent minimum wage, she could work full-time and not live in poverty. And I would hope that he would support this bill. Look, it prevents people from going on welfare. A lot of complaints by conservatives that they don't want people going on welfare. This is a way, without the Commonwealth paying a penny, to make sure people are fairly compensated for their wages. And I echo Delegate Krizek, who says no one who works hard at a full-time job should have to live in poverty. We should also note that minimum wage is much, much less than it was in the past. In Ronald Reagan's time, the minimum wage and real wages would be more than $8 an hour. In the 1960s, it would be over $11 an hour. What my bill does is it allows local governments to decide what the minimum wage should be in their localities, up to $10 an hour. It doesn't even go back to the way it was in the 1960s. I think it's a very modest measure. And I should note that my locality, the city of Alexandria, supports the legislation. I have a letter here from the mayor. I suspect you'll be hearing from Alexandria. Basically, this is something that I think local governments can and should do. Delegate Villanueva, you talked about, your neck of the woods. Your neck of the woods is different from my neck of the woods. I would very much like each neck of the woods to decide their own local minimum wage. I'll just close by quoting Speaker Paul Ryan, certainly a conservative icon. He said, quote, "Government closest to the people governs best." And he opposes having big government crowd out civil society. If you vote down my legislation, what you're saying in fact is you would rather Washington choose the minimum wage rather than the localities in which you live. There's no reason why Alexandria can't have a different minimum wage from anywhere else in the Commonwealth. And the people elected in local government are closest to the people. This is supposed to be a conservative principle, and I would hope you would follow that principle today. Finally, I would note the question of tipped wages. I've talked with waiters and waitresses in my district, and even in Alexandria, there are a number of workers that are only getting $2.13 an hour in tipped wages. Lastly, it sharply reduces employee turnover. Academic studies show if people get a decent wage, if not, they have to keep training people. And a study of 3 out of 5 small business owners, you can find this at smallbusinessmajority.org, 3 out of 5 small business owners supported a gradual increase in the minimum wage to $12 an hour, which is more than even the maximum that my bill would allow. I think this is a modest measure. We should remember that the vast majority of people who earn the minimum wage are not teenagers. 89% are over the age of 20, for those that would increase up to $10 an hour. It stimulates the economy, it saves taxpayer money. It is a modest measure that I hope that this subcommittee would seriously consider. Thank you for your time, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Okay.